guys, welcome to another edition of OTWO. Building Greener Businesses is the season that we're at the moment. And thankfully, I'm here with David, who is a friend as well as a fellow podcaster. Thank you so much for joining me.
No problem at all.
He is a bit of my guru. He's the one that started me with all these podcasts, yo creo. It's great to have you, David. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, not at all. And actually, we were talking a bit before we started recording.
Yeah.
That as a podcaster, I'm usually the one asking questions, so I am quite nervous.
Go for it.
I am quite nervous.
We go with everything. Honestly, what I want to do is, first of all, have you introduce yourself. I know you work with Thrive Magazine. You're the editor-in-chief of that. So how is that going, and how long have you been? What is Thrive Magazine all about?
Right. So Thrive Magazine is the free quarterly magazine produced by the GFSB. It's now we're just finishing its 5th edition, which is amazing. I've been editor of Thrive since it launched last January.
It's gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. I think what we've been trying to do, and like myself, contributors, and the GFSB, is create something pretty much like you guys do with OTWO, is like content with a purpose. So it's not just about, hey, this is a business, learn about it. It's about actually how can I learn what they know and share knowledge and practices and stuff. So I think the spirit is very much aligned to what you guys are doing as well.
And I think it's what GFSB has always been about, isn't it? GFSB has been to grow small businesses, Gibraltar Federation of Small Businesses. Yeah. So it's to grow small businesses, help them along, networking. You guys do loads of events with regards to networking and everything else. It's a brilliant
It's a community, right? And I think the GFSB, I'm involved with the GFSB. I'm not on the board or anything like that, but I kind of, as I said, I'm the editor of their magazine. I run the Gibraltar Business Podcast for them, and I support their communications, right? So by aligning myself with the GFSB, I'm in awe, and I'm not just saying it, of what they do for members, and actually what they've been doing in the last kind of, I'd say 18 months. They do networking, they do events, they really want to champion small businesses, and by that again is providing stuff that adds value. So we've got the print magazine Thrive, we've got a Thrive Edit newsletter that also I do every Thursday that goes out to all of our members. So yeah, at the spirit, it's about that. It's about representing a really diverse community.
I can imagine. With small businesses, you've got people from all sorts, with all sorts of ideas. And how small does a business have to be? What is it?
There's no business is too small. You have micro businesses, which many people are self-employed and are business people. But actually, a bit of a secret. Gibraltar is pretty much every business in Gibraltar is a small business. I think maybe Basadoni is exempt because they employ more than 300, but pretty much every business in Gib is small when you compare it to larger global businesses. So I think that's one thing when you look at the GFSB, you might just say, oh, that's just for your main street retailer. Actually, no, it's for everyone. The challenge then is when you're communicating or creating some content or a magazine that needs to kind of represent a lot of different scales and issues, right? So if you're running a shop on Main Street, the challenges you face about sustainability, import, export, anything like that are going to be very different to your Gib Tales, right? So.
The focus has to be as well challenging with regards to the magazine and being able to focus an edition specifically maybe to something, or it can be the diverse way. So with podcasts, how long have you been doing it for?
You know what? It's crazy. I started it in 2021. So it's been going for 4 years.
Wow! Before even the magazine, before Thrive.
Before the magazine. So before then, like I used to. I'm Gibraltarian, but I went to UK for university. I was in the UK. I went to uni and didn't come back. Right. I thought I'm never going back to Gib. It's not going to have anything for me at the time. Right. We're talking about like early 2000s. So I stayed there till 2016. Came back home, wanted to be near my family. I just thought, what kind of opportunities would exist in Gibraltar as someone who specializes in marketing, PR, communications. I haven't been busy. I haven't been busy since moving back. And the question was about how tell me the question it was about.
It was like, it's just pretty much what you your background about podcasting, how long you had been
Yeah, coming back to the podcast. I latched onto the GFSB at the start because I was writing for the magazine, which now I'm the editor for, which is amazing to be able to do that, right? But at the start, I was writing for that In Touch magazine. When COVID happened, everything kind of just stopped, didn't it? Like everything got stopped. No print. Everyone was scared to pick things up. Everyone was a bit kind of, we didn't know if it was even going to return, right? We just didn't know what was going to happen. So I had the idea of a podcast version of the content I was writing. And I pitched it to the GFSB. They were really supportive. We have the Gibraltar International Bank sponsor it, and the rest is history, right? But I don't know about you guys, but I had to learn by doing.
It is all about that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's good to have a bit of background. It's good, and obviously you do have the background, which helps you a lot, I can imagine. But it is all about learning, and you just kind of have to fumble a little bit, which is pretty much what you try to do and help people along, which is brilliant to see. So it's all about communication. You think, well, how can I communicate? You can communicate by a magazine, you can communicate by interviews, you can communicate by events, you can communicate by, and it's all about putting your message out there, which is the.
But also taking the step, right? Because for me personally, it was very much like, how am I going to do a podcast if I can't even listen to my WhatsApp audios? I hate my. So you just got to go like, well, you've got to feel the fear and do it anyway, and actually say, look, if you want to create change or do something different, then why not do it? And I think that's why kind of it's always fun, but it's always nerve-wracking.
It is when you have to watch yourself back. You're like, really?
I don't watch it.
So going into the form of sustainability, which is what OTWO is all about. Have you noticed since you've been the editor or you were writing in the In Touch magazine, you've been obviously within communications within small businesses, as in communications with them, interviews with them, articles about them. Have you seen a trend going and having this built in a certain way?
Sustainability in general, yes, I think definitely within our small business community and community-wide as well in Gibraltar, there is much more awareness, I think, towards the issues of sustainability beyond I need to recycle, beyond going paperless. It's just a bit more of a consciousness that this is something that we need to kind of approach and have conversations about. It is.
I mean, have you... It's a thing, you know, I mean, I think it's a conversation that people are not scared to have anymore. And it's... With regards to sustainability and articles as such, do you have one in particular that you can remember that has?
There's a few from my role as editor of the magazine. I always try to cover a wide range of things. One of them being sustainability, right? So the last edition we looked at business is always about kind of it gets a label of being unsustainable, right? Sell, more. I questioned in the last edition about, wait, hang on a minute, slow shopping, what is that? What's conscious consumerism? Let's talk about that. So when it comes to being part of that conversation, I try to publish content that connects or at least raises awareness or supports those goals which are so core to you guys. But one of the, a memory comes back actually when I was recording, I think it was this first or second season of the podcast, I interviewed Sergio Bossano.
Wow.
Which was a real honor.
That must have been amazing, right?
It was a really good experience, quite distracting because I went to his office and I remember back then I wasn't recording them on video. I had this kind of recorder that I still have somewhere in a box. So I had this microphone which I put on the desk. And we started talking and his phone didn't stop ringing the whole way, the whole time. People were coming in and out. And I just said, wow, okay, this is a kind of experience, right? But we were talking about some of the changes that he oversaw in terms of Gibraltar's economy, development. But finally, regardless of what those changes meant for Gibraltar's economy and kind of, I don't know, it was a real before and after moment, you know, that kind of
It's a balance.
Transformation of our economy. I asked him, I think one of the questions I asked him was about what is one of the biggest challenges that you see facing Gibraltar and the world right now? Just a small question.
Just a little one.
Just a little one. And actually he said, funnily enough, that in his opinion it was consumerism. We're consuming too much. And I think, you know, I try to live that way as well. So, you know, when I go shopping, do I need this? Do I actually need it? Actually, it's usually yes, but I try to question my shopping habits.
I completely agree with you, and I think that I agree with Sergio Vosano as well in this.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, I think it's like a gift, but it's not really a gift. The fact that we have everything so close now, no? With mobile phones, you can order multiple things very cheap, and these sort of alternatives, and social media as well, I think has a lot of influence in this. I mean, I keep on mentioning this too when I talk to the team and when I talk to everybody, and I'm like, it's like the top. I need to buy the top every single time I'm looking on my social media. This top comes out, and I start looking and I think I don't even like it, but it keeps on coming up to you that you end up saying, "I'm gonna buy the top now," because it's like I like it now, and it just keeps on this consumerism and this thing. It makes you think that you need it, and you don't.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of the narrative around sustainability, recycling is put onto the end user, right? So I'm the end user, you're the end user, and I think it sometimes needs to be bigger than that. And I not just mean at local government level or our government here, it needs to be even higher. We sometimes don't have the choice. You know, it's almost like when you are being followed or stalked by that top that you need to buy, and actually you at one point they'll get you and you'll buy it.
Yeah. You just got paid, you feel as if you got lots of money and you're like, let's do
ethical?
it.
You know, yeah.
Why?
Is that ethical?
Yeah.
Should there be more things in place? Probably. Because the way that we're going, I don't know, we just can't. What is the end goal? More.
It is
again another small question.
Another small question. But look, it's conversations that this is the whole point of this, you know, podcast, and this is the whole point of what we wanted to do, is just communicate the fact that it is an issue, you know, and it is things that we feel that we need and we don't really. And it's lovely to hear that you feel that way. And even if it is sometimes, we always think, oh, you're second guessing yourself, and we say it as if it's a negative. Oh, you second guess yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Just go. Sometimes it's good to second guess yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you're sometimes not right in your first instinct, and that instinct maybe is not something that you have. There's been an influence to that instinct, if you know what I mean.
I think if you're confident, you say, right, okay, this is 100% right. I think, great, good for you. That's not how sometimes my mind operates anyway. And it's always good to kind of have that. Is this that kind of shudder or self-doubt, or it helps you sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, it's lovely to see. And I know that you're not, obviously it's the Thrive magazine as the podcast that you are more focused in, but it's lovely to see that the organisation behind these things, which is the GFSB, have been pretty much, front-facing with regards to the awards for Nautilus Project, and they're always there, they're at the forefront, which is the word that I wanted to go for. Yeah. And it's brilliant to kind of see that, because they show the case that this is what the Gibraltar small businesses want.
Absolutely, I think again
it's the focus on that.
Absolutely, the GFSB is an organisation that, again, if we're looking at representing a community of businesses, that in Gibraltar most businesses are small. It's that balance, right? You have to be able to show support for things like the Nautilus Project, the awards, and also celebrate some successes too. So last year's innovation, like the GFSB have an annual kind of business innovation award where they welcome.
I've seen a lot of winners there. I know a lot of winners there. Which one was the last year's one?
Last year was Lily Olivero.
Oh, it's good. I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I've actually done the login and everything with that app now.
Have you?
Yes.
Yes. I've got to try. I am a slow adopter on that, and I have to. But it did show that actually looking at the panel, I think what it is that people can. Actually, I went in for the Innovation Awards once. You go in, you pitch your idea, there's something innovative of it, and then you go to a panel, they assess your ideas, a bit like Dragon's Den kind of thing.
Ooh.
I know. But you're standing there, I thought it was just a form that you need to fill in, and then before you know it, I'm like pitching at the Sunboy. I didn't win.
God.
But the fact that Lily's green card kind of concept won does show that kind of that they understand, and the panel that was there understand that this was a great idea and it's a great time to have that conversation on, again, shopping sustainably. It's okay to shop. Shopping allows us to, we need to shop. Businesses need to sell stuff, but how can we do it a bit more ethically and sustainably? Things like what Lily has help us.
I think it will. I'm honestly, I think it's a brilliant idea, and it's lovely to see that actually is what is going forward in businesses locally.
Yeah.
So, with regards to any advice from writing in the magazines, from having conversations with local people with regards to businesses, what advice would you give local businesses thinking about going more sustainably, having some sort of thought of, hold on, tendré que ser yo algo aquí with regards to this?
I think it's very, very general, and I think actually I'd signpost them to people like you. Because your magazine is definitely 100% around these issues, and I think that would be a really good place to start. But start small, if you're not recycling, why not? And start doing so, and start to kind of make small changes. And I think that sometimes that is something that is a bit of advice that works across the board. I think if you want to take on a big challenge, or it feels too big or expensive, small steps. Actually, on the point, I was thinking of this on the way here today, sustainability or green initiatives. I don't know where this has happened in the narrative of business, I think, across the world. Is like, it almost feels like it's bad for business. Do you find that?
It's the perception.
Yes.
That's been said a lot. And I think it's because people feel that it's an investment.
Yes.
That's the whole thing of, all right, so if you want to be sustainable, you have to invest in further things to become more sustainable, which means it is more expensive. But personally, it's actually the opposite. It's becoming more efficient in what you do. Therefore, checking this is what we talk about, carbon footprint, and the building on, starting to focus on your calculations. Why? Because you use less electricity, hence your phone bill or your electricity bill at the end of the month will be cheaper. You will look more towards what you're consuming and what you're buying and how you're using stuff. Therefore, you become more efficient in the way that you do things, and less money that you... Of course, if you want to invest in redoing your whole building up and installing solar energy and installing a different sort of sustainable, that is going to be an initial investment. But in the long run, if you're thinking of investment-wise, it will be a better investment for you, because you have to think of the long run. It buys an electric or a hybrid car and then buys a petrol. And then you think, well, how much petrol are you going to have to buy? How much is your electricity bill going to be?
This is it. I think a lot of it, Vanessa, is about complexity. Sustainability also is a word that is just so wide. It's about, green, sustainability, but then people la gente se pierden, they don't know what actually...
But sustainability is being sustainable in the way that you're living. Can you afford to live like this forever? Can the world sustain itself by being like this forever? And unfortunately, right now, the answer would be no. Hence why we're seeing the repercussions of it. But if everybody in this world would think of that question within themselves, is this sustainable for me? Buying just consumerism and overspending, is this sustainable? Why is it not? And this is why recycling and second guessing yourself, it sounds like a negative again, but it's like second guessing what you're doing and thinking, this is why it's important.
Pausing, a lot of the time it's like pausing, shopping online. We're on our phones, you talk about that top that's chasing you. We've all got that top that's chasing us, and it's like we've all got those kind of decisions to make or not make. You've got things like Shein now. You can get loads of stuff for 20 quid. You've got to think, wait.
Una libra y media, porque no me voy a comprar eso.
But it's like, actually, wait, hang on, is that going to end up in a drawer? Like, no, say those are small decisions on an individual basis, but when it comes to business, which is what we're talking about here, and our businesses, again, starting small and maybe starting to lose that stigma of it doesn't necessarily need to cost you anything.
No.
because it always seems to be the anti kind of sustainable movement feels to kind of go on those expensive bits. You know, you're going to have to invest like so many thousands of pounds on getting. I'm not going to buy an electric vehicle because.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's looking at the stuff that you need to do day to day.
Starting small, baby steps, and then you'll see. And this is how it started with me personally.
Yeah.
It's like you start small. You start by doing something, and then you look at something else, and then seeing technology is going that way.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It has to. So it is going to be easier as it goes along, but it's just making the first initial step. It is.
I'm interested. I know this is a bit more of a discussion, but you were on the Gibraltar Business Podcast. You talked about AI. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm interested in your journey as well because, like, you say how you when you started small. How did you get from having an idea to having a magazine and a podcast?
But it's by communications, it's by talking to people that are like-minded, and that's how the magazine started. That's how we started. We started with the magazine as a vision, as a communications way on people wanting to become more sustainable, and people seeing that 5 years ago, now going to 6. And then from there, it's like what we're saying, it's all about communication. It's like, how can you spread the message?
Yeah.
You can spread the message by having a monthly magazine, going online when COVID hits, so let's just go online, no one's going to touch the magazine. It's by creating events. Why? Because it gets people out there, it gets people talking about it. And then it's like, well, put out their podcasts. It's like the conversation, let's have the conversation about it. Getting the person to understand that it's not just free or not it's business, no, it's people. It's
behind Jib, right? Because it is about that. Jib, you do business in the cafeteria when you're seeing people a lot of the time. So connections here are super important, and it's about making them. Right? I think that
this is why as well the bilingualness of the magazine is important for me, because it opens up the border. I mean, there's no environment, there's no borders when it comes to the environment. I keep on saying this, and we need to learn from each other. Hence what this GFSB with the podcast and the Gibraltar Business Podcast is all about. You learn from each other. And sustainability is that, and no one has all the answers.
No.
But we can help each other along the journey.
Of course, and everyone has their own experience, and I think also like opinion and perspective. No? So I definitely find that with the podcast, and I enjoy doing it because of that. You know, like no interview is the same. You might talk about someone's career journey, then you're talking about Trump, then you're talking about all sorts of stuff. So absolutely.
So where do you see yourself, just to finish up, where do you see yourself going in the next couple? What's the goal? What's the goal of Thrive and the Gibraltar podcast?
To keep thriving.
Of course.
I don't know. I want to keep doing what we're doing with the magazine, keep going with the podcast, being part of the conversations that matter at a local level. Myself, I think, is more helping other businesses communicate better. So, as well as being the editor of Thrive and supporting the GFSB with their communications and the podcast, I work with other businesses locally in terms of trying to manage their PR, communications, and kind of look at how they engage with the community. So more of that, please.
Definitely.
And yeah, more of that. And more of this, more of seeing you and supporting each other as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
See you soon.